Welcome to 15-Minute Battles, where we demolish history's biggest conflicts in just 15 minutes. We dive deep into the world's most pivotal military clashes, from the ancient battlefields of Marathon to the complex strategies of modern warfare. The leaders, who were the legendary generals and forgotten heroes commanding the troops, and finally, the outcomes. If you love history, military strategy, and learning something new quickly, you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another historic clash.
Picture this: 260 BCE. The First Punic War is raging. Two superpowers, Rome and Carthage, are locked in a brutal struggle for dominance over Sicily and the Mediterranean. Carthage is the queen of the seas. Her fleet's legendary, her sailors the best in the world. Rome is a landlubber, a nation of soldiers who are far more comfortable on solid ground. But the Romans are pragmatic. They know they can never truly conquer Sicily without challenging Carthage's naval supremacy. So, what does Rome do? In a move of staggering ambition, they decide to build a navy from scratch. They reverse engineer a captured Carthaginian ship and begin a massive construction project, churning out over 100 warships in a matter of months. They train thousands of men, most of whom have never set foot on a warship, to row in unison on land-based contraptions. It's an audacious, almost insane gamble. The first great test of this brand new Roman navy is about to take place off the coast of Mylae in Sicily. The world is about to find out if Rome's gamble will pay off, or if their fledgling fleet will be sent to the bottom of the sea. As the two fleets prepared for battle, the contrast couldn't have been starker. On one side, the Carthaginian fleet, commanded by Hannibal Gisco. Not that Hannibal consisted of about 130 warships. These were quinqueremes, the battleships of their day, crewed by seasoned veterans who had perfected the art of naval warfare. Their primary tactic was the deeplis, a maneuver where they would slice through an enemy formation, shearing off oars, and then turn to ram the now crippled vessels in the side or rear. Speed, agility, and experience were their greatest assets. On the other side stood the Roman fleet, commanded by Consul Gaius Duilius. They had a similar number of ships, but that's where the similarities ended. Their crews were green, their captains inexperienced. On paper, this should have been a massacre. But the Romans had a secret weapon, an invention so simple, yet so revolutionary, it would change the face of naval combat forever. It was a device called the corvus, which means crow or raven in Latin. Imagine a heavy wooden boarding bridge, about 36 feet long and 4 feet wide, attached to the bow of a Roman ship by a pole. At the end of the bridge was a huge, heavy, pointed spike, like a bird's beak, hence the name. Using a system of ropes and pulleys, the Romans could swing this bridge around and drop it onto an enemy ship as deck with crushing force. The spike would pierce the deck planks, locking the two ships together. The naval battle was about to become a land battle, and if there's one thing the Romans excelled at, it was a land battle. The Carthaginians approached the battle with an air of absolute confidence, bordering on arrogance. From their perspective, what was there to fear? They were the masters of the sea, facing a fleet of land dwellers who had only just learned how to sail. They expected an easy, decisive victory. Hannibal Gisco, leading the Carthaginian vanguard of 30 elite ships, didn't even bother with complex formations. He simply charged straight at the Roman line, eager to demonstrate Carthaginian superiority and collect a quick win. His sailors were ready, anticipating the familiar dance of ramming and outmaneuvering the clumsy-looking Roman vessels. They saw the strange contraptions on the bows of the Roman ships, but they likely dismissed them as some crude, ineffective device. They had no idea that they were sailing straight into a trap, one that would shatter their long-held invincibility. As the first Carthaginian ships closed in, ready to execute their textbook ramming maneuvers, the Romans unleashed their secret. With a great creak of ropes and a thunderous crash, the first corvus slammed down. The heavy spike tore through the deck of a Carthaginian quinquereme, locking it fast to the Roman vessel. The Carthaginian sailors, stunned by the sudden, violent impact, barely had time to react. The naval battle, the contest of speed and seamanship they had expected, was over in an instant. Suddenly, it wasn't about who could row faster or turn sharper. It was a fight to the death on a floating, locked-together battlefield. And across that bridge swarmed the Roman marines, legionaries in full armor, with their shields locked and swords drawn. These were some of the toughest infantry soldiers in the ancient world, and they were now on the deck of a ship filled with sailors and rowers who were no match for them in close-quarters combat. The result was a slaughter. The first Carthaginian ship was taken in minutes, and the next and the next. The entire vanguard of 30 ships, the pride of the Carthaginian fleet, was neutralized almost immediately. Hannibal Gisco himself had to abandon his flagship, which was captured, and escape in a small boat. The sheer shock and devastation wrought by the Corvus was absolute. The rest of the Carthaginian fleet, watching in horror as their elite vanguard was dismantled, was thrown into chaos. Their commander had fled, their best ships were captured, and their time-tested tactics were suddenly useless. Ramming was impossible. Getting close to a Roman ship meant getting caught by the Corvus. Their superior seamanship and speed counted for nothing when the battle became a series of infantry brawls. The remaining Carthaginian captains, trying to salvage the situation, attempted to circle the Roman formation, hoping to attack from the sides or the rear, where they might avoid the dreaded boarding bridges. But the Romans proved surprisingly adaptable. The Corvus was mounted on a swivel, meaning they could swing it out to either side. As the Carthaginians maneuvered, the Roman ships pivoted to meet them, presenting their deadly prows and the ever-present threat of the Corvus. Every attempt by the Carthaginians to regain the tactical advantage was thwarted. The psychological impact was immense. Their confidence was shattered. The sea, their domain, had been turned against them. Realizing the battle was lost and their traditional naval doctrine was completely nullified, the remaining Carthaginian ships broke off the engagement and fled. In total, they had lost around 50 ships, most of them captured with their crews, a devastating blow to their naval strength. The Romans, the novices, had won a stunning and decisive victory. The Battle of Mylae was a turning point. It was Rome's first ever major naval victory, and its consequences were enormous. The myth of Carthaginian invincibility at sea was shattered. Rome, the land power, had proven that it could not only challenge, but defeat the masters of the Mediterranean on their own turf. The victory sent a wave of confidence through Rome. Consul Gaius Duilius was awarded a triumph in Rome, a lavish parade celebrating his victory. This was the first triumph ever granted for a naval battle, and to commemorate it, a column decorated with the bronze prows of captured Carthaginian ships, the Columna Rostrata, was erected in the Ramon Forum. More importantly, Mylae shifted the strategic balance of the First Punic War. Emboldened by their success, the Romans would continue to use the Corvus to win more naval battles, even taking the war to Africa itself. While the Corvus was eventually phased out due to its weight making ships unstable in rough seas, its impact was undeniable. It was the tool that allowed Rome to overcome its initial disadvantage and level the playing field. The victory at Mylae set Rome on the path to becoming a true maritime power, a path that would ultimately lead to the defeat of Carthage and the establishment of the Roman Republic as the dominant force in the entire Mediterranean world. It all started here, at Mylae, with a clever invention and the unyielding will of Roman soldiers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from history. See you next time.
And that wraps up today's 15-minute battle. If you want to master more moments of military history in less time, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next 15-minute battle.